Hey my everythings, I hope that you all are doing well. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you would like to get notified anytime the new reads are being posted, please feel free to subscribe and also hit that notification bell so that you can get those notifications, okay? This read is going to be for Aquarius. Aquarius, I'm seeing that during the cycle of this read, the things that are influencing what's happening during the cycle of this read is lunar energy with the moon. The moon goes through an orbital cycle every 27 days. The moon influences emotions, the experiences of certain memories, and monthly changes. I'm also seeing something that is strongly influencing things during the cycle of this read, specifically have to do with like a honeymoon phase, and maybe like someone's going on a honeymoon, or you're thinking about going on a honeymoon, or something like that has happened during the cycle. Okay, I'm also seeing that the soul is teaching the spirit of true self some lessons in regard to the northern and the eastern winds. With the northern wind, I'm seeing that the soul is teaching the spirit of true self a lesson about partnership and community, and how your individual self is navigating through your community, your tribe, okay? With that northern wind, I am seeing dating and your past. And then I'm also seeing the eastern wind, and with the eastern wind, the soul is teaching the spirit of true self a lesson about perception, specifically the perception of feminist or feminism, something like that is what I'm seeing. This is a genuine and classic read for you, Aquarius. So I'm seeing that the ego within the spirit of true self is just trying to get a gist of how things will happen moving forward, and based on the sum of what has happened during the cycle of the read, right? So the first thing that I'm seeing that the spirit of true self is sending you a message about is stories. With the stories energy, spirit is saying that I leave you the memory of healing tales. Then I'm seeing sacred ceremonies. So spirit of true self is saying that I remind your soul of the sacredness of the world. Then lastly, I'm seeing feminine cycle, where the spirit of true self is sending a message saying to reconnect with your cycle, as you are a plural woman. With that energy, I am seeing the consistency with honeymoon and the moon energy, and I'm just seeing like a sweet cycle of like you attracting energy to you rather than it being a negative experience. And the reason why I say like the sweetness is because of how it says honeymoon. So it's like a cycle of sweet gestures, nice things, in regard to you dating in the past. Maybe there were some lessons learned, especially in regard to feminism. That's showing consistency throughout the read as well, with the feminine cycle, sacred ceremonies, and like I said, with the stories, learning about those healing tales by the way of you thriving in your divine feminine energy, right? Another one of those things that I'm seeing is that this message may be for a divine feminine, or it could be for a divine masculine. Take it as it resonates. The gender is not specific, though it is like balancing out divine masculine and divine feminine energy. Okay, I am also seeing the old school energy, where there may be some outdated thinking, some type of conditioning to like the way that you think, your ideologies that could be represented in your past with the northern wind, as well as the feminist energy. Right. And then with the northern wind as well, where it says dating, and you like being in the honeymoon phase of your relationship, so that could also be something that's happening with the outdated thinking and the conditioning and like doing things the old type of way. And it may appeal to someone that is learning about the perception in regard to feminism. Okay, so I'm also seeing someone replaying events maybe over and over in their mind. Then I'm seeing the not today energy, where there's a representation of someone setting boundaries, maybe because they were hurt in the past, or like maybe you needing time to process that hurt, right? Or it could also represent like you dealing with your hurt, you dealing with your traumas or things that have happened in the past and setting boundaries. So take it as it resonates. This kind of energy is based specifically on your situation. So I'm not projecting that you are going through hurt or trauma or pain or anything like that during the cycle of the read. Though what I am seeing is it's that you were, or you're processing the fact that you did go through something and you're setting boundaries so that things can move in a more healthier direction. And just as I say that, that energy did come through during the cycle of this read with healthy choices. So I am seeing someone prioritizing self-love, self-care, being happier, being genuine in your joy and happiness, accepting joy and happiness, experiencing it, appreciating love in life. Then lastly, I am seeing the picture energy, where someone may be looking at pictures, missing you, having a sense of nostalgia, or it could be you focusing on making new memories, okay? Especially with that honeymoon phase energy, the past or your past, and then dating. It's just showing me like someone that's like thinking about what they did in the past, processing how it is that they have been hurt, setting boundaries, and intentionally making healthier choices, like choices that sit well with them, that they don't have to question or feel regret about, right? And then there's, like I said, that stories energy, where you did learn your lesson from certain things. So the stories of your own life have helped to create healing narratives, you know, for you and maybe even for others, okay? So I am seeing the specific emotions and overall messages that are associated with this overall read are that someone may want to know more about you. Like I said, you could be past that honeymoon phase, or you could be in that honeymoon phase during the cycle of this relationship in regard to your dating life, your love life, or, you know, your past relationships. And from what I'm seeing, like you have arrived at that point in your life where either you want to know some more about someone else, or someone may want to know more about you, okay? I'm seeing for you not to feel paralyzed, for you to be courageous, to be brave, give grace to yourself, or to live in grace, and obviously give grace to yourself and give grace to others, right? For you not to feel forced. You may be feeling frisky during the cycle of this read, or like in the future. For you to feel happy, and for you not to be fearful, okay? If you are not familiar with how it is that I do my reads, I do them based on time that has been offered or is available to me for me to interpret the message and give the message to you. So thank you. Time that had been offered to me for me to be able to give the message to you is the King of Swords energy. The King of Swords energy is kind of like, I'm just going to say the first thing that popped to my mind was legal representation, right? So the King of Swords is someone that stands strong in their ability to defend someone by the way of words, right? And it could be actions as well, necessarily referring to the King of Swords in this context, I'm just, like I said, I'm just seeing legal representation. I'm seeing like someone that can defend you, someone that protects you, defends your honor. I'm also seeing someone that's like very gracious and genuine and earthy, or this, like I said, could be how the energy was received. Like very genuine, very down to earth, very natural, not rough, like someone that defends you, though also operates in an energy of grace, right? So this could be an energy that's being offered to me, for me, or it could be how it is that I am being received to give you this message, right? This is also being received as like very calm and smooth, and like I said, just very graceful, and the overall energy is what I'm seeing. Then the energy that I see you in during the cycle of the read is the Knight of Swords energy. With the Knight of Swords energy, you're being received as like very delightful, very engaging, mesmerizing, also very masculine, strong. I'm just seeing like manly and lively. With the Knight of Swords energy, it is someone that is like ambitious about the truth that they're seeking, and their ability or attention to want to be able to stand strong, in their ability to be like protective or like a good defender. So I only have one card for you in the position that you're in during the cycle of the read. And during the cycle of the read, you are in this Emperor energy. As you are in the Emperor energy, you do have power, right? You are in a position of power, and you have the tools and resources that you need to be able to be innovative and productive in how it is that you operate the space that you have dominion over. I don't know any other way to say that, so I hope that you were able to receive it well, right? So I am seeing you in this Emperor energy, and you are being received as like very satisfying, very graceful, genuine, kind, and also meek. So you're making space and time for other people, and you also operate in an energy of like consideration. So as you are in this Emperor energy during the cycle of the read, you are also in this Knight of Swords energy, right? In summary, because even as you are in the Emperor energy being received in the kind of way that you are, you're also being, like I said, received in the Knight of Swords energy, just seeking information, validation, clarity, so that you know how to move forward, okay? So let's talk about your future. And I'm going to sum it up because I see the message very clearly, what's going to happen in your future. And then I'll go into details with you about it. So let's talk about your future. So the overall message is that you're going to have to be brave and courageous when it comes to trusting people or trusting God. Take it as it resonates. If this is in regard to you going on this spiritual journey and becoming more inclined with the sacred ceremonies of the world, and how that plays a role in your life specifically as a divine feminine with the feminine cycle, or if you are trying to understand those cycles and how they play a major part in your dating life as a divine masculine, take it as it resonates. What I'm really seeing is that you're going to have to be brave and courageous, in how you trust. Like I was saying, you're going to have to be brave and courageous in how it is that you move forward in your interactions with trusting people in relationships, so that you're making healthier choices for yourself. And, you know, essentially the livelihood of your and longevity of your relationships, if that is what you essentially really want. Because what I'm seeing is the Four of Rods energy, where it's showing me that you want to build something up that will last long, or that you see fruitfulness in, right? And that is why, superseding all of that, you're in this Emperor energy. Like, you have the power, you have the tools, the resources to be able to do that. Nonetheless, in the future, it is going to take strength and courage to trust in yourself, trust God, trust the people that you are building this reality with, right? Because you have divine permission and ability to co-create with the universe, and it will extremely be way more beneficial to you when you are prioritizing the wellness of your soul, and choosing with your own free will to make those healthier choices, whether if it's how you interact with others, whether if it's what it is that you consume, how you prioritize self-care and self-love, things like that. And, you know, you choosing to live and not be depressed and stressed, right? So let's get into the details of the future, right? So the first card that I'm seeing is the Strength energy. You'll need courage. And from what I'm seeing, you will have the strength. You'll be received as like a little bit reserved and probably quiet, because in this Emperor energy, you are being received as like graceful, and, you know, you're not like all wild and rambunctious. In addition to that, you're also being received as selfless. So you're selfless in how you operate in this courage and in this strength. And I'm just seeing that it's going to be important for you to be in that energy, because people are receiving you in that Emperor energy, right? As someone that's essential, someone that's necessary, a leader, if you will. And then I'm seeing you will be in the Two of Swords energy. So as you're in that Two of Swords energy, that's where the trust comes in. The thing about the Two of Swords energy is you are being led by faith, not by sight, right? It's like believing is way more than seeing in this situation, in this time in your life, in the future. And maybe the reason why is because you've never been this version of yourself before. And I say that because the Knight of Swords energy that you're in, where you're seeking information, you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to be able to operate in a healthier way. And that's not to say that you never did anything that was healthy, though that kind of energy is coming through, right? So in the Two of Swords energy, you are operating in an energy where you have to be brave and courageous, and also faithful, okay? The thing about the Two of Swords energy is that it could represent other people trusting you as well. I mean, it goes way beyond just, I'm just seeing, like, it goes both ways. So that's what I'm seeing, is like, if there is trust to be had, then you have to recognize that it goes both ways, because to a certain extent, there's always going to be things about you that the other person doesn't know about, and things about the other person that you don't know about. And that's where the bravery and the courage comes in, because there's vulnerability in humanity, right? You are being received in this energy is very calm, very natural. You know, you're bearing water, and you're also being received as like refined and flawless in how it is that you are managing the bravery and the courage that is necessary to trust others and for them to be able to trust you. Because as you saw with the emotions and the specific messages, that someone wants to know more about you, or you may want to know more about the other person. It could even be to help that person or for them to help you, right? Though with that comes a sense of vulnerability and trust. So don't feel stuck or like you're forced to do anything. It's always better to approach situations regarding trust, especially if you are becoming more familiar with that person, especially like if you don't know that person or whatever the situation is, or you want to operate in a healed type of energy, to give yourself grace because you're growing, right? And so may that other person be growing as well in ways that they need to mature. Okay? So give yourself grace and give grace to others, and maybe practice mastering that, because you're an individual and no other human being is going to human the way that you do. And I think that that's a gift to be able to do that, that you get to do this your own kind of way. So, and I say that because the dating energy is coming through with the soul teaching, the spirit of true self lessons about partnership with dating in your past. And if anything that has to do with the past, we learn from it, right? And we can grow from it, though it can also put us on a course to be more cautious. Though don't allow so much caution to put you in an energy of fear where you're operating out of a frequency of trauma rather than a healed energy where you're trusting instead, right? And know that God will not fail you regardless of whatever happens, okay? And I'm saying that to you because I just recently went through a moment like that where I was like, what kind of energy are we operating out of? And I'm not critiquing the way that my partner is doing things. I'm trying to understand myself more, because God had a reason for putting me here, right? And then making me a part of this person's life. The whole attraction thing was outside of my control, right? A lot of the things that our vessels like them for reasons that we don't fully and completely understand. Nonetheless, why am I here? And like, what can I learn about myself? And I think that if I continue to operate in that kind of energy where I am seeking to learn more about myself, then I'm not blaming you for being a human and doing things the way that you do them. I'm not under commandment or control of anyone to be so focused on cursing or judging what the next person is doing, because I'm trying to understand my purpose, my reason. And if I lead in love and I operate from a frequency of healing and grace, then I can't be steered wrong. What I realized is that my partner celebrates me for being that version of myself, because it's authentic to what I'm really passionate about, and that's prioritizing the wellness of my soul. Okay, so as far into your future as I can see is the Four of Rods energy. And this is why I say you have to have bravery and courage to trust either those that you are building a future with or that are a part of your growth, because you want to build up from a strong, firm foundation, right? And that's what I'm seeing, whether if it's a relationship with God or with other people externally. And with that picture energy where you are maybe looking at pictures or someone else is looking at pictures of you all, or there's an energy of like you wanting to make new memories by the way of you dating or like learning from your past. Take it as it resonates. With this Four of Rods energy, it is someone that's building up on strong, firm foundation. And if you put it in parentheses, no matter what way you look at the situation, if you look at it this way or that way, speaking of the future, it is for a strong, firm foundation. You have to trust all the parts that you're building it up with, and that takes courage and bravery. And then if it went this way, so it's balanced. And why I say that it's balanced is because if I read it left to right, is the overall message that you have to have strength and you have to be brave and courageous in the relationships or partnerships where you feel you need to trust people, or to have that kind of trust to build something that is stable and strong and on firm foundation. Okay? And lastly, with the Four of Rods, I am seeing you in that energy as very graceful, and or like people are receiving you as graceful. And I just see that you will be that way because you understand that that is your calling and is what's necessary if you are sure about this. And it cannot be torn down or teared away or untethered from your existence, because it is a part of your covenant and living. Like the reason why is something as simple as if you got a cut, that your body is able to have the intelligence within it to tell it to heal. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's grace in like scientific terms, if that's what you want to call it. And take it as it resonates. Grace applies on all different levels. What I'm saying is, for the vulnerabilities that you have as a human being that may make you feel or have the experience of being flawed, there is consistent grace being poured into you for every day of your life that you are alive, to give you an awareness, an affirmation, and a confirmation that God is not done with you yet. That you are not alone, and that it's okay to make mistakes if you feel like you've made mistakes. So with that being said, Aquarius, I really do wish you the best moving forward. I think that this was an amazing read, and yeah. I think that you have a lot of amazing things to look forward to, especially in the future. You know what needs to be done. And like I say, you're not alone. I thank you all for joining me during this read, and I will see you all next time. Bye.